exceedingly rare that I can come out here and give you guys good news, but I am happy to announce, for once, I do have a little bit of good news for you. Now, understand this is conditional. So, in other words, this is subject to change with time, because this fight is not over yet, but let me show you this. Look at this. Breaking. Senate Democrats, under the leadership of Chris Van Hollen and Bernie Sanders, unite to block the NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act, from moving forward because of its provisions to deepen U.S.-Israeli military and intel relations. This is remarkable and further evidence the U.S. is moving away from Israel. Okay, let me show you this. A great development. The Senate voted against the NDAA. It was 50 to 46. They needed 60 votes. It was 50 to 46. It denied Israel a merger with the U.S. And here's the most important part. The 46 who voted in favor should face charges for treason. Okay? They should face charges for treason. And actually, I think this guy slightly misunderstands. I think it was the 50 that voted in favor, but they needed 60, right? So, and by the way, would you like to take a guess which party they belong to? Would you like to take a guess? Virtually every Republican. In fact, I don't know the exact numbers, but like, did Rand Paul break? I'm not sure if he broke. You guys can put it in the comment section below. But the overwhelming majority of Republicans literally voted for something, the textbook definition of treason. So Israel knows, understand why this is happening. Israel knows that, oh shit, Americans hate us now. Oh shit, we're on borrowed time, getting endless money and endless weapons from the U.S. So what their grand plan is they have Netanyahu going out there now saying, we don't even want money from the U.S. We don't even want weapons from the U.S. We're a big boy nation. We can handle ourselves. And it's a PR move. It's a PR move. Because ultimately, they're trying to rush through right now a way to get their claws into our military and our intelligence systems where it becomes impossible to break up with them. It is literally the Peter Thiel strategy from Palantir, where you give them a contract, you open up the door to them, they get so embedded deeply within our government systems that even if a president who means well comes in there and tries to break up with Palantir, Peter Thiel says, that's impossible. We are so deeply embedded in the U.S. government, and we have all the information and the data already that you can't break up with us. You are stuck with us. This is the exact same thing that Israel is doing. This is a U.S. military, Israeli military, it's a Mossad takeover of our military, forcing intelligence sharing. And this is a hostile power that doesn't have our best interests in mind. Could you imagine somebody tried this with, I don't know, pick a random country that's theoretically our enemy. If there was somebody who said, we're gonna merge the Russian military and Russian intelligence with the U.S. military and U.S. intelligence, you actually would have people screaming, this is fucking treason. This is unacceptable. This is like an attempt to subvert a nation from within, to take away its sovereignty, to take away its independence. But it happens with Israel, barely mentioned on mainstream media. Barely fucking mentioned on mainstream media. But again, shout out to Bernie Sanders, shout out to Chris Van Hollen. Like, you have no idea how important it is that they did this. Now here's the thing though. This was also blocked, not just for that reason. This was also blocked because it's like over $1 trillion being given to the military-industrial complex to continue the illegal war against Iran. And so the argument was, Trump said to Congress, okay, we're restarting the war against Iran, so restart the 60-day clock when it comes to the War Powers Act. That was basically what he was saying there. And so the Democratic senators were like, no, fuck that. Like, we're against you continuing this war against Iran. So really, it's a twofold reason why they're blocking it. Now, here's the thing, though. The NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act, is typically viewed as a must-pass bill because you don't fund the military at all if you don't pass it, right? So the question is now, well, what is going to be taken out of the NDAA and what is going to be put into the NDAA? One thing everybody should insist on. In fact, I would say call your fucking senators right this second and tell them no to the part of the bill that merges the U.S. military and the Israeli military. That is outright treason, and we will remember who voted for it. Tom Cotton was the fucking co-sponsor. He should be in prison today for this. Today. By the way, look how much money he gets from the Israel lobby. I'm sure you'll see some horrifying stuff there as well. But we need not only that taken out of the bill, but obviously we need to strip this thing down because, I mean, it shouldn't be a fucking penny for this illegal war against Iran. First, Trump came out and said, oh, we need $25 billion. Then they upped it to $67 billion. Now Trump's going, we need $350 billion. So they want $350 billion for this illegal war, on top of $1.5 trillion that he wants for the overall Pentagon budget. All at the same time, he's literally saying, I don't care about Americans' financial situation. We can't afford daycare. We can't afford healthcare because we got to pay for this war. It's a sick, sick joke. It is a disgusting, disgusting joke. But listen, I'm a big believer in providing incentives for people. So the Democrats who voted the right way on this, all the credit in the world to them. In fact, you should call them and thank them if your senator voted to block this. Tell them to stand strong. Tell them hell no on merging the U.S. military and the Israeli military. And also hell no on funding this war any further. Do not fund this fucking war. Not a penny for this war. This is an illegal war of aggression against an innocent country that didn't fucking attack us. Enough of this bullshit. We can find trillions of dollars in our fucking couch cushions to bomb kids in schools, but we can't find the money for universal health care or free college or a living wage? I mean, what a sick, sick joke this is, man. It's disgusting. While we're on the topic, let me show you this as well. Democrat Hakeem Jeffries has said he will oppose the bid to cut off U.S. aid to Israel. This is a slightly separate topic. There's a Massey Amendment which cuts off U.S. aid to Israel. And you have a whole bunch of Democrats have come out and said, I'm in favor of cutting off all U.S. aid to Israel. They've sensed the shifting opinion among the Democratic base. I believe it's nearly 80% of the Democratic base thinks Israel committed a genocide and wants to cut off U.S. money and weapons to Israel. So it's like, it's not really up in the air. It's a very black and white issue among the Democratic base. Democrats are united on saying fuck no to genocide and fuck no to more weapons to the people doing the genocide. But here you have Democratic leadership, Hakeem Jeffries coming out and saying, no, I oppose the attempt to cut off U.S. aid to Israel. Why? Well, you can see right here. Oh, look at that. He's taken $1.7 million from the Israel lobby. I wonder if that has something to do with it. Now, I don't have the exact numbers right now. By the time this drops, we may know the exact number, though, to be fair. But I think there's speculation it's in the high 200s or maybe over 300 Democrats that are going to say, no, we want to cut off all U.S. aid to Israel, which is phenomenal. But make no mistake about it. This is betrayal from Hakeem Jeffries. It's absolute betrayal. And you have J Street, right? By the way, step down, Hakeem Jeffries. Step down. Like you're in no position to be the leader of the Democratic Party. You don't represent the Democratic base. Like this is not like a wacky concept or anything. The Democratic leader should represent the will of the Democratic base, right? But then you also have this group J Street, which is liberal Zionists, and J Street released a statement where they basically said, we're with the people who want to cut off U.S. aid to Israel, but we're also standing with the people who want to continue U.S. aid to Israel. So we have no morals, we have no core, we believe in absolutely nothing. You're just announcing, yeah, whatever, we're for good things and bad things. What the fuck is that? It really starts, the more you look at it, the more it starts to look like J Street's whole existence is to like take the air out of the tires of real meaningful resistance to Israel, right? And to redirect all of that energy into, instead of being anti-Zionist and being against ethno-states full stop, make them liberal Zionists, where you still support the ethno-state and the logic that ends up leading to genocide and leading to apartheid. So that is fucking disgusting and unacceptable. Listen, every single Democrat who doesn't support the Massey Amendment should be primaried. Every single Democrat who turns their back on their voters should be fucking primaried. This is not, we're not asking anymore, we're demanding. Okay, if you suck up to Israel, if you cuck yourself to Israel, you are not a Democrat. You are not welcome in the Democratic Party. There's all this talk about Big Tent. You know what Big Tent means? Big Tent means Steve wants the minimum wage to be $50 an hour, and Dave wants the minimum wage to be $20 an hour. You're both welcome in the tent. Okay, that's what that means.
Hey, man.
Having a big tent means there's a Democrat that's running in this rural-ass county in a red state, and he is going to be slightly less in favor of gun control than a Democrat in a blue state. That's what a big tent means. A big tent doesn't mean we have people who hate genocide and people who love genocide. That's not a big tent. This is a basic moral test. This is a basic moral issue. And unfortunately, Democratic leadership has completely failed it. But the good news is many Democrats in the caucus have passed it with flying colors. And like I said, Senate Democrats just blocked this NDAA, which tried to merge the U.S. and Israeli military. By the way, isn't it crazy that this is how low the bar is? That now we are actively cheering and we're excited because they weren't able to get the treason bill through. They weren't able to get the let's bomb more Iranian little schoolgirls to death bill through. I mean, just insanity, absolute fucking insanity. But while we're on the topic of good news, I will end this segment by letting you know there's one other little piece of good news the House passed the permanent daylight saving bill, which basically means that we would stop changing the clocks. And we would keep the clocks permanently on daylight saving time, which is just a fancy way of saying it will stay lighter later throughout the year. I fucking love this. This would mean that in the winter, the sun wouldn't set at fucking 4 o'clock in the afternoon anymore, right? It would set at 5 o'clock, the earliest. And so here's the thing. The Senate already passed this bill in a previous session, okay? I don't know all the specifics and the way it works, but my guess is they're saying this new bill that got through the House has to also get through the Senate. So I guess they have to repass basically the same bill that they had passed previously. But the House passed it overwhelmingly, by the way. The Senate will probably pass it, okay? And then Trump has said he'll sign it. So, there are many people on the right who would probably look at me and call me a hack for the simple reason that I've repeatedly stated there's not a single fucking thing Trump has done that's positive in his second term. At least in the first term, I could point to, pardoning Alice Johnson, doing the First Step Act. There were certain things where it's like, okay, I'll take that. That's good. He banned bump stocks on guns. There were a number of things. Okay, those are good. I'll give credit where credit is due. There's been nothing in the second term. Literally nothing. Nothing at all. Nothing. Zero. Zilch. Nada. Okay? This would be the first thing where I would give him credit. If the House already passed it, if the Senate passes it and Trump signs it, and we get rid of daylight saving time, that is a massive, massive W. And people who face whatever they call seasonal depression these days, I know it has a different term that they use, but people who face that would feel a lot better. So, and also all the statistics show, all the numbers show that, like, if you stop changing the clocks, there's societal upsides all over the place, right? There's all sorts of problems happen when you change the clocks. The only downside is people say, oh, it'll be a little darker in the morning when kids wait for school, at the school bus stop. Yeah, I can understand that might be an issue, but there are just way more issues with changing the clock. So we'll see. Hopefully that gets through as well. But shocker, I know. At least we have some good news here. But keep the pressure up. Keep the pressure up. Keep the pressure up on your senators and tell them no to this fucking NDAA bullshit, no to funding the Iran war, and fuck no to merging the U.S. and Israeli military. What kind of psychotic shit is this? Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm.
Well, there's some silver linings and stuff that happened anyways. I'm going to course correct that. They did not effectively pass Thomas Massey's bill. I misunderstood that in the Senate or the House. But Democrats, I think it was like 200 to 300 Democrats have already signed on agreeing with Thomas Massey's amendment. So I had to course correct that real quick. But also, the other bill that was passed or voted down in the Senate was the NDA. Okay, that was a different one. But and that was done under the leadership of Bernie Sanders and Van Hollen. Which I say good for them. They're on the right track here with this issue. But of course, most Republicans supported it. Wow, what a shocker, right? There isn't a war they don't like, but anyways, that's pretty much what happened. And also, any Democrat that does not support Thomas Massey's amendment, we need to primary them and vote them out. Because if they think it's okay to keep giving our money to Israel, they do not deserve to represent us in the Democratic Party. And when we talk about Democratic Party having a big tent, we're talking about a party that actually has legitimate agreements and disagreements on, like, the minimum wage rate, maybe. Or say a candidate's running in a red rural county in America and they're slightly for less gun control. That's what we talk about when we talk about Big Tent Party. Okay? We're not talking about between people that are fighters for working class people versus people and pro-peace versus people that are pro-war, pro-Zionist, pro-corporate. We're not talking about that kind of tent. If you're a pro-imperialist and you call yourself a Democrat, no, we don't want that in our party anymore. We don't want any pro-imperialist, pro-war, pro-Zionist, racist, corrupt Democrats. People represent the Democratic Party. If you can't even meet the moment now when we need it most, you don't deserve to be in the Democratic Party. You don't deserve to represent us anymore. And that's fact. Times are changing. get with it. So that's all I got to say in this video. Anyways, y'all, have a great night, great day. Goodbye.